What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down some of the best routes Odell Beckham Jr. has ran so far this year's 2019 season. I think if the Cleveland Browns want to win some more games, they definitely need to get the ball on his hands more. And guys, please leave in the comments any questions you might have or the next receiver you would like to see me break down. I'd really appreciate that. Let's get started. So this first route we're going to be looking at here is a squirrel route, okay? So this is against a zone coverage look. It's going up against Richard Sherman here. Now he's going to be going a squirrel route, guys, is where he's going to be breaking up. He's going to go out, up, and then back out again. Now, he runs this thing a little bit different than we're used to seeing, so we're going to watch this thing full speed, then we're going to break it down. So he comes up, and he uses this rocker step to get vertical rather than taking this out 3 steps. So here we go. Let's break this thing down. So again, the main thing I want you to notice is throughout Odell's route, he never changes speeds. He's always running. That's how we have to be, guys. We can't change up our speed. We always have to be running. Now, when he goes this is what the rocker step is. Rocker step is 2 steps. So he goes left and then right. Head and shoulder movement to the inside, head and shoulder movement to the outside to sell like he's just running this out right now to get Sherman sitting to see if we can get him to break on this out. So he goes up here, 1 head and shoulders, 2 head and shoulders back to the inside. I want you to see how much he commits his shoulders here, but his legs, his toes are straight forward, and he's still pushing off this inside arch of this foot because he's got to get it vertical. There's probably play action going on. Baker knows he's got some time to deliver this ball, so it's not going to be how fast he's got some time to work. So he goes 1, 2 head and shoulder movement, pushing off the inside arch of his feet, guys. Anytime we're working a rocker step, that's what we want to be doing. We want to be pushing off the inside portion of our foot to make sure we're as explosive as possible and we're transitioning fast. So inside of his foot, inside of his foot. Now he's going to take this thing up for 3 steps. So he goes 1, 2, 3. Head and shoulder movement to the inside, like he's maybe just running a post. But I want you to see how violent he is with his upper half and how violent he is with this left foot, guys. He comes out up here, violent, exploding off this inside arch, gets his shoulders committed to the out, full speed running on this squirrel route, out, up, and then back out. He's pumping those arms. He's running out of this thing. Then he catches this ball, gets 2 feet down for a big gain. That's a good job by Odell working this route, working off this rocker step, 3 steps up vertical, sudden stick, very explosive head movement and very explosive cut in the ground. That's a great job by Odell working this squirrel route. Let's watch this thing full speed one more time. So he's coming up, 1, 2, inside arch, sudden stick, head and shoulder movement to the inside, forces Sherman to speed turn out of it. That's a great job. So Odell's going to be at the top of our screen here, and he's going to be running a dig route. So let's watch this thing full speed, and then we'll break it down. So he's coming out, 1, 2, 3. In and out of this thing, least amount of steps possible. Now, the main thing I want to talk about is here again, it's zone coverage, so he's really focused on just being full speed, making everything look the same. You want to make everything look like a vertical. The DB should have no idea until the end of the play what we are running, guys. We should be making everything look the exact same. So when he's coming out, what a lot of guys will do and see he's getting his DB to bail out of there. Again, he did his job. He sold this thing vertical. He's closing the gap with this DB, stepping on his toes, quote unquote, stepping on his toes and getting him bailing out of there because now he knows if he can get out of this break fast and this DB's in a backpedal and the ball's coming here, it's a race to this spot. So if Odell can take care of what he needs to take care of at the top of the route, he's going to get some separation. He's going to make a big play. So he's coming off this thing, snap down. Okay, so that first step, I want you to see that first step's a snap down step, right? We got to be explosive with our hips. That step has to be very sudden, and you got to bring your chin to your knee. That's the mechanics of a snap down step. So he snaps down and again does what he needs to, drops his chin to his knee. Now it should be 3 steps. So he's going to go 2 and then 3. Now this second step is very important on the snap down. You want to get your toes angled back down flat. He's trying to run straight across this 45-yard line right here, right? So he's got to get his toes angled that way, and that's exactly what he does. Well, maybe not the 45, maybe a little bit up. But you can see how much his toes are angled, right? If he had his toes straight forward, this is what a lot of guys get into trouble here. They come up to this portion, and they break down. They beat the drum with their hands because it's what the receiver coach told them, and their feet are all fast. And this guy has a lot more time to react than if we just hit the ground running right here. 3 steps, we're in and out of this break. That's what we need to do if we want to get some separation. So 1, 2, 3. And you can see on that third step, he's already stride for stride. He's pumping those arms. It's a race to the ball. This guy has no chance of getting there because Odell got his head around fast. Baker obviously got the ball out on time. That's a great job by Odell getting out of this dig, least amount of steps possible. If we want to get separation at the top of our routes, guys, this is what we have to do, especially on a dig route, an out route, a comeback, a curl, least amount of steps possible. Snapping it down, 2, 3. His feet are angling him downhill so he can round this thing straight off at about the 49, 50-yard line and come straight across, get to that depth, catch this ball, and now he's focused on getting upfield. That's a great job by Odell, and great job after the catch. He's one of the best receivers after the catch. We could all learn from that. Let's watch this thing full speed one more time. So he's coming off, closing the gap with this DB, 1, 2, 3. in and out of this thing, running out of the break. It's a race to the ball. Now let's get upfield. Let's get some extra yards, 5, 7, 8 yards after the catch. Okay, so now he's going to be running a comeback here. Now the main thing, this guy's bailing out of there, right? You could tell by his stance, his technique, that he's going to be bailing. So we could attack the blind spot. Now if you don't know what the blind spot is, we're going to watch right now, and you're going to find out. So he's coming off this line, attacking that blind spot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In and out of this thing. I would like it to be 3 steps, but 5 steps will do, as long as you're not beating the drum at the top of the route, right? We talked about this the last clip, how he's running a dig, least amount of steps possible, right? He could have cut this thing down by 2 steps, and I think he'd probably be the first one to tell you that, but he knows that if he's in this blind spot, he'll be able to get the separation that he needs. So as you can see here, off the line, right? He's staying on this near hip of this DB, right? But now he's going to get in the blind spot. When he gets in the blind spot, you can see he's either going to be forced to do 2 things. Keep going like how he's going, speed turn out of there. He's not going to speed turn out of there because it looks like zone coverage right now. And so he's in this blind spot. So all he knows he has to do is snap this thing off and sell vertical for just a little bit. Sell vertical until he gets up to that depth, and then he can snap it off. Because as you can see here, he's in this blind spot. His eyes are outside. His eyes are over this DB's shoulder. He has no idea where he's at. For all he knows, he thinks it's just a vertical right now. That's the power of being in a blind spot, guys. So now, when he runs this comeback again, that first step, right? This right leg is his snap down step. What we talk about, chin to your knee and having really violent and explosive hips. And that's exactly what he does. Snapping it down, 2, 3. Now, as you can see here, that's what I was talking about. Snap down, 2, 3. His toes were straight forward. Now, if he could get that second and third step angled back downhill, he could run out of this thing and stay on that 45-degree angle. Now, it's easy for me to say I'm not going full speed running this route against one of the best corners in the NFL. They're all great corners, so it's easy for me to say that and easy for me to sit back and critique, but that's just something I think you guys can get value out of. We want to always be working on cutting down our steps. So 2, 3. Now, the 4th and 5th step, as you can see, that angles him downhill. This 4th step angles him back down right here, and that gets his hips turned back on this 45-degree angle, and he's going to run down towards the sideline, okay? And then that 5th step, you can see he's coming back to this ball. He's accelerating out of this break. I know it cuts off a little bit right here, but you can tell, you get the idea that he's running back to this ball because in reality, he has no chance at making a play on this ball, but Odell wants to make sure he can get even more separation than this by running back to the ball, running back to the quarterback, running out of the break at the top of the route, coming all the way back down, catching this ball, and now right when he catches this thing, he's focused on getting upfield. He's focused on getting vertical right now. Goes a little lateral at first, but now let's get upfield. Let's get the yardage that we can, fall forward. That's a great job by Odell getting in and out of this break fast. I know it was 2 steps longer than I normally suggest, but he still accelerated out of the break. That makes all the difference. If we can be fast at this position right here, if we can be fast, least amount of steps possible, 3 to 5 steps, right? And we can run out of this break, we're going to beat that DB because we know where we're going. He doesn't know where we're going. Let's watch this thing full speed, then we'll break it down. So he's coming off here, gets in that blind spot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In and out of this break fast. That's what having fast hands, fast feet will do for you, but also being very explosive with those hips on the snap down. Okay, so he's going to be running out right here, guys. We're going to watch this thing full speed. This is against a cover 2 situation because how I can tell, these guys, Jarvis and Odell are stacked. Jarvis is going to be running in the flat. This corner is going to take Jarvis, so that's how we know it's a cover 2 look. Cover 2 is when this corner right here plays the flat, and the safety's got this deep half, this deep sideline. Okay, so we're going to watch this thing full speed, then we'll break it down. Coming out, corner takes the flat, rounds off this out, guys. That's what I want you to see. Now, he knows that it's a cover 2 situation. Odell's smart. They've probably wanted this matchup, this situation all week because they know he's going to take the flat, and if he stays home right here, all Baker's going to do is throw to Jarvis in the flat, take the 5, and let's work. This is like a smash concept, guys. But what Odell does a good job of is rounding it off because he knows it's a cover 2 situation. This is like smash. So we're reading this corner as a quarterback. Right now, Odell knows that this safety is going to be playing over the top, and he knows that Baker is going to be throwing him back downhill away from this safety, right? So he's bursting up, and if he takes this on a corner and goes straight up on this 45-degree angle, this safety's going to be able to make a play easier, right? But he does a good job of recognizing that and rounding this thing off flat, right? He doesn't want to just go up and run himself and run into coverage and cover himself. He breaks this thing off flat because he knows, see, this safety's over the top. If he takes this thing on a 45, he's going to either be able to undercut it or make a play over the top. But he rounds it off, no indicator on this out. Baker throws him back downhill, and he makes a great catch within 2 defenders. That's a great job. That's a very very high football IQ play right there. Smash concept, easy read for the quarterback, but we got to know these things too, guys. Receivers, we can't just think, oh, I'm just going to run around, and if a quarterback gives it to me, quarterback's going to give it to me. No, we got to understand coverages. We got to understand the situation. Odell's thinking right now, okay, if he takes the flat, I'm going to round this thing off so the safety cannot make a play. I'm not allowing him to make a play. I just cut this thing flat. I know Baker's going to throw me flat, and then it's going to be a big game. Let's watch this thing full speed one more time. Corner takes the flat. Let's round this corner off so Baker can throw me downhill, catch this ball. That's a great job. Okay, so he's going to be running an in route right now, and this is against Stephon Gilmore, one of the best corners this year by far, and is matched up with Odell, rightfully so. And we're going to talk about his release a little bit, and we're going to talk about how he's so vertical on this end. So let's watch this thing full speed, then we'll break it down. So a little bit of a hesitation move, 3 steps vertical, and then flattens this thing off, catches this ball, then gets down. Okay, so let's watch this thing. Let's break this thing down. So he gives a little bit of a hesitation step, right? He's gathering information right here, right? Seeing how this DB's going to be playing him. DB's on his heels. He's clearly backpedaling out of there, right? Still man coverage, but he doesn't want any part of this press with him right now. He's not trying to jam him or nothing. Gives a little bit of this hesitation release, right? Hesitation hop. Now, he's going to burst upfield for 3 steps hard to the outside. Eyes are over this DB's outside shoulder. The little things matter, guys. It's not just about, oh, can you make a big play or make a big catch? It's the little things that are going to get you separation. So his eyes outside get this DB to turn that hip, right? His biggest nightmare is getting beat over the top. So if Odell's eyes are outside, he's going to be going outside. He wants to force him into that sideline. Let's make it a tough throw for Baker. But Odell does a good job of forcing him, or eyes outside, right? Eyes outside 2-3, sudden stick, flattens this thing off right here. Now it's a race to the ball, right? When Odell makes this break right here, he doesn't want to pop up. He doesn't want to make this break and then pop up and cruise out of this break and expect the ball right there. He wants to widen the distance between these two. So when he makes a stick in the ground, he wants to further develop the distance between these two guys. So here, and he's pumping those arms, he's accelerating out of the ball because the ball's coming here, it's a race. Who's going to get out of the break faster right here? Is it going to be the DB or is it going to be Odell? I think it's got to be Odell if we do what we need to do. If we have an explosive break, if we're sudden with our feet and we're exploding out of this break, we're going to run and catch this ball and then he gets down for a good gain. I'm assuming that's first down. That's a good job on first down right there. Little hesitation release and then sell this thing vertical. Let's watch this thing full speed. So he's coming off, 1, 2, 3, flattens this thing off, accelerates out of the break. That's the main thing I want to talk about, guys. Okay, so he doesn't get the ball on this play, guys, but I want you to see how, again, Stephon Gilmore faced Stephon Gilmore in his last game yesterday, and I want you to see how well he attacks this blind spot of Gilmore and how you can use a stick with head and shoulder movement and your eyes can tell lies to get you open. Let's watch this thing full speed, then we'll break it down. So he's coming out, stick, head and shoulder movement, and he's accelerating out of the break. So let's watch this thing. And again, I want you to see he wants to close the gap with this DB, right? But he never slows down. That's the problem I see so many young receivers have is they ask, oh, well, how do I change my speeds in my route? You don't. You don't change your speed. There are times where when you run a fade, you can kind of slow play the guy, kind of lull him to sleep and then take off and go. But when you got to run a route when it's zone coverage, just go, man. Just freaking go. Don't slow up on anything. So he's pumping those arms. He's going full speed, right? His eyes are to the inside, selling like he might just be running right up the seam right here or taking an inside release on a vertical or deep post, whatever it may be, getting Gilmore to cheat over. You see how much he committed these hips, right? That's where we need him to be. And now, sudden stick here. Now, I want you to see how his step right here is cut isn't way outside of his frame, but his head and shoulder movement is violent and looking like it's outside of his frame. That's where we need to be, guys. You want to keep your feet inside your frame so you're explosive, but your head and shoulders violent to the outside to get this guy to make him believe that you're going post. Turn your shoulders, commit your shoulders, sudden stick, and exploding off the inside portion of this foot, right? And he stays in that blind spot, gets those hands off, and now in this position, guys, Gilmore's going to have to speed turn out of there. And Odell's coming right off this break. It's a race to the ball if Baker were giving him this ball on time, right? So he's pumping those arms, he's driving out of the break, and in this situation right here is a bad spot for Gilmore to be in if the ball was out and the ball was to Odell on time, right? Because it's a race. It's a race to this spot right here. Who's going to get there first? It's going to be the DB out of his speed turn. It's going to be Odell pushing off the inside portion of his foot, pumping those arms, and accelerating out of the break. That's a great job by Odell. Let's watch this thing full speed. See? Pumping those arms, stick, head and shoulder movement, flatten this thing off. That's a great job by Odell. All right, guys, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Again, please leave in the comments who you would like to see me break down next. I would really appreciate that, and I'll see you guys next time.